I'm not ranking for a bit, so you might want to just go to bed and catch the VOD, man. Twitch is going to go first. Wait, which one updated? You guys are saying it updated. Oh, this one updated. Okay, so the original one didn't update, but that one did. That's a interesting update. Renegades Pog, I know. Either you guys are just simply on another level when it comes to predictions tonight, or or this is a questionable outcome. Okay, let's create the poll and see what happens. So okay, share, copy. It's in chat. There it is. Well, let's look at the results. Let's see if this works. Hey, good job. This is kind of close. I don't want to just cut it now, but we've got to end this at some point. It is 1 vote difference right now between BDS and Queso. Alright, BDS have been in front for long enough. I think we just give it to him. Sorry, Queso fans, but chat has spoken. Chat has spoken. Yeah, Queso have been winning this one for the vast majority, so I think we're just going to give this to Queso from chat. I think Queso have got this. Queso win. Good job, chat. You've done it. Both the teams with team in their name have topped the list. Let me just get the next one ready. Don't show the results. If I didn't show the results, it wouldn't be that interesting, would it? We kind of need those. So yeah, clearly NRG are winning this one. They've been a significant amount ahead the entire time. And therefore, we're going to give it to the General NRG. They even get the sponsor in there. That's great work by them. Yeah, they're getting like a solid 30 votes every single round. I don't know how long that's going to continue. But yeah, quite clearly, Dignitas are on top of this round. So let's put them in second. Are they called Team Dignitas or just Dignitas? I can never remember. Let me look overall. Okay, I think G2 now have been ahead for the entire time since I reposted the link, so I think that is enough to call it there. So we'll put G2 at 5 according to Twitch chat, because they were back and forth at the start, but since I posted the link again, they didn't leave first place. So let's run this back. I see a lot of people talking about that last one. Wow, you guys very torn in that last one, not just in the poll but also in chat. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to influence the vote, but I'll talk about all my picks when I get to my list, so don't worry, I will give my analysis on all these teams. Sandrock take number 6 according to chat pretty comfortably. Let's remove them. Yes, Coach LBP, you're allowed to vote for anyone you want, including yourselves. Of course you're allowed to back yourself. So pretty close one here between FaZe and Endpoint, but FaZe, okay, now it's back and forth. FaZe were winning since the start, but now Endpoint's kind of going back and forth with them. FaZe have led for the majority. Yeah, FaZe continue to lead for the majority, so probably going to call it for them. It's not quite as back and forth as the Sandrock G2 one is. Of course, if we leave this infinitely, Endpoint will eventually overtake them because the anarchists in chat will all vote Endpoint here. FaZe have pretty clearly been the team leading there, so we'll put them number 7. It's pretty clear that after a close poll, you guys pretty much all vote for the team that barely lost the close poll. So this is pretty obviously Endpoint for Twitch chat. Okay, it looks like chat's going Space Station Gaming as number 9. That's quite interesting. So Space Station Gaming locked in at 9. This LAN, unlike the last one, will have 4 teams tied for last place, 4 teams tied for 9th to 12th, and then 2 teams tied for 7th, 8th, 2 teams tied for 5th, 6th, and then exclusive 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And yeah, version 1 are winning this one fairly convincingly. I only discovered today, apparently, there's no space between version and 1. It's just version 1 with no space. Did you guys know that? I did not know that until today when I checked. It's close actually, very close. Okay. Gonna need to leave this one for a bit. Just as I say that, Furia remain at the top for a while. Okay, I think it's close enough that we will post Or is it not? Furia have been winning the whole time. I think we just have to give it to Furia. Oh, it's not on the screen. Sorry. Furia have been winning the entire time. You can look at the results yourselves. I'm sure many can confirm. It's been close, but they have been winning the entire time, so I think we just have to give it to Furia there. Although it's a small margin. It's very possible that not all these teams will be in different groups, is what I mean to say, because Renegades and Team Secret are the 2 #1 seeds from SAM and OCE. It's very unlikely that all these teams are going to be in different groups. I'm trying to think of how this is going to work, actually. We're going to hopefully find out really soon. I don't know when the planned announcement of the groups is, but that is super interesting. That's going to be so interesting to see. In the meantime, Renegades taking number 13. Oh, sorry, I didn't show the poll. It's a fairly convincing lead for Team Secret, though. And yeah, we're going to give that to Team Secret. So, final round, only 2 left. It's Pioneers, the 2nd seed coming out of OCE, and Detonator, the new fan favorites. So, last poll for chat is in the chat right now. Super close, actually. Why is the last one incredibly close? You know, Detonator have got a pretty big win here, to be fair. Pretty big lead. Okay, now Pioneers are coming back. What is happening? Did I just leave that one too long and then Detonator were overtaken? They were leading for a fair bit, right? For Pioneers retook it. I think both teams have had a fair lead at this one. Let's post it one more time. This is the last time that the link is going to be in chat. Get your votes in now. Both teams had a fair stint at #1 there, but now Pioneers are convincingly ahead. Sorry the poll won't load for you, man. Yeah, we're going to give it to Pioneers. They've just led for the entirety here, the majority of that segment. Close though. Detonator, respectable. Very respectable. So, in summary, Twitch chat ranks BDS as #1, Team Queso #2, NRG #3, Dignitas #4, G2 #5, Sandrock Gaming #6, FaZe Clan #7, Endpoint #8. So actually the exact same regional distribution as the Fall Major, just in a slightly different order. Also Space Station Gaming #9, Version 1 #10, EG #11, Furia #12, Renegades #13, Team Secret #14, Pioneers 15, Detonator 16. So chat has OCE putting up a significantly worse performance compared to the Fall Major. They have the top 8 looking pretty similar overall, except with EU having a more top-heavy finish inside that top 8. And yeah, as a result of OCE finishing lower than the Fall Major, according to chat, the beneficiaries there are Evil Geniuses in version 1. They've gone from 13-14 to 10-11. So it's not a lot of changes from the Fall Major, just a little bit of reshuffling inside the top 8 and a couple of teams swapped in the bottom 8. In fact, if you swapped Team Secret to 15, so changing them by 1, and then you swapped Pioneers and Renegades, the new 13-14, with 10-11, which is version 1 EG, I think you have the exact same finish across the board as the Fall Major. Oh, you'd also need to swap NRG and Queso and G2 into the top 4. But it's not far off. Not a lot of difference there. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Good job, Twitch chat. Good job. My top 16. The ones... Well, before we get into my top 16, I was very curious to see the talk around... I think the close votes on chat were... G2 and Sandrock was very close. NRG Queso was very close. FaZe Endpoint was very close. I'm pretty sure that Furia Renegades was very close. And of course Pioneers, Detonator very close. So a lot of very close ones, according to the chat. But let's reveal mine from bottom to top, starting with number 16. And I do agree with chat, although... I was surprised to see it be... Well, I guess I'm not actually surprised, because they're the underdogs of the LAN. There's no two ways about it. Detonator, don't try and talk and speak at the same time. Detonator are the underdogs of the LAN. I have them as number 16. I don't think that they're gonna have a great time. I'm just like looking at the text size here. For some reason, the box that I have is taller. Do you guys see that? Why is it taller? What have I done differently? What have I done? It should be the same. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I made them the exact same, but maybe I didn't. Oh, that's a disaster. Line spacing. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't even know that was a thing. Did that work? I hope it's not like scuffed it. Did I make it worse? Nah. It's not possible. I think you guys just have to wait a second. I think I made it better. It's good. All right. Just give me a second. So, Detonator, I think, yep, they're the underdog here. Verdi struggled at the Fall Major, and Detonator have now upset Verdi to qualify as the APAC team. Real Cinderella run to make it into the event, to be honest. They only made it in because the team ahead of them in points couldn't, in fact, attend the event, so they forfeited their spot. But yeah, Cinderella story, underdog story. I'll be impressed if they can get a game win. Like, that would be a step up on Verdi, who actually had some pretty close games with Ground Zero. But it just, yeah, this region just needs time. But okay, for number 15, I do disagree with you guys. No, actually, I don't. I don't think I do. I'd love to disagree, but I don't. I also think Pioneers are number 15. Now, this one might need a little bit more explanation, although somehow chat's agreeing with me here. I thought I was going to need to explain this one more. So, Pioneers are the number 2 team from OCE. The number 2 team from OCE in the last event, in fact, finished, I think, 11th overall. And beating teams like Endpoint and Furia along the way. That was Renegades. Renegades were the number 2 team last time. So Renegades are in this, and I've got them above, obviously. Pioneers. But yeah, Pioneers on their debut LAN, they've made it into the event by beating Ground Zero in overall points. Mainly due to a terrible regional 1 from Ground Zero in the OCE region. Yeah, I just think they're going to struggle. I think OCE is behind every other region apart from APAC mechanically, and I do think that is a weakness, which is clear to see. However, they do play with a ton of confidence. Well, at least Renegades played with a ton of confidence at the Fall Major, and that is what I think led to their success. Can they replicate that? Remains to be seen. I need to see more. Well, I need to see. I've not seen any of Pioneers in LAN, so I have to put them down here. That's just my thinking, at least. But yeah, really cool to see that team making it. Really cool to see OCE with not just Pioneers, but also other teams like upsetting the run of show over there these days. It's very interesting to see. But yeah, I've got them 15, sorry. Okay, 14. I am going to agree with chat again. I think you guys are just nailing this. I don't know how, but I think you're nailing it. I've prepared my list in advance, but now it just looks like I'm copying you. But I have the Sam 2 team in here. They finished 15th at the Fall Major with a very tough schedule. Now, Sam 2 at the Fall Major started off playing against NRG. Then in the second match... Oh, who did they play second match again? I've forgotten off the top of my head who it was. I just know it was a tough match. And then the third match they played against Vitality. Oh yeah, it was Complexity, right? Team Secret are oh wait, yeah, no, you guys are right. Secret is Sam 1. It doesn't matter though. They're coming in as Sam number 1 because they do have a little bit more points than Furia, who started off very slow. They had a very bad Regional 1. Then they won Regional 2 and 3. So Furia took 2 Regionals. Team Secret took the first one. Although Team Secret are the number 1 team in points, I do consider them the second best Sam team at the event. And that's why I've got them at 14. But yeah, I definitely would give them an edge over Pioneers. That's despite the fact that OCE has taken both of the RLCS matchups that they've ever had against South America. OCE's won both of them. I still think that I have to put Team Secret ahead of Pioneers for now. So we've not seen either of these teams on LAN. We've seen Math from Team Secret. Math from Era Eternity joined Team Secret, and now they're in LAN, and his former teammates Astromic and Snip they finished 3rd in SAM. So yeah, we've seen Math before. He's a LAN veteran. We've not seen any of the players from Pioneers. Yeah, and I do think that even though this is the #1 team in points, I think that they're going to be the 2nd best team from SAM. Okay, on to 13. Now this is where it got difficult for me. This is where it got difficult. I think the bottom 3 was very easy to decide. But 13 is definitely a tough one. And I think you guys have got a decent shout for 13. I think Renegades are a decent shout for 13. But Renegades beat Furia at the last LAN. Does that mean that you have to put Renegades over Furia? Some people would. EG are coming in as to their LAN debut. Well, at least their RLCS LAN debut. Version 1, apart from Torment. RLCS LAN debut as well. Daniel from Space Station. You know, a lot of like LAN debuts happening here. But, you know, the things you have to think about is, #1, will the presence of a crowd make a difference? I don't think it's going to make as much of a difference as people think it will. Because firstly, it's an NA crowd, so they're just going to chant, like, let's go, team name, let's go. And they're going to boo you if you're not from NA. Like, ooh, how are they going to deal with that? Like, I really don't see the crowd being that big of a factor. And also, I would have thought the crowd would be a bigger factor if there seemed to be any value in LAN experience at the Fall Major. But there didn't. At the Fall Major, all of the teams with LAN experience seemed to be doing terribly. Well, all the teams with like historical LAN experience didn't seem to matter. NRG started really badly, Vitality started really badly, the list goes on. But teams that were brand new were actually doing really well. FaZe doing really well, the Dignitas rookies doing great. A lot of teams who had no LAN experience were doing great in the Fall Major. I expect a similar kind of thing to happen at the Winter Major, despite the presence of a crowd. Yeah, I just don't think the crowd is going to be a big factor. If I did think the crowd is going to be a big factor, then I wouldn't be putting this team 13. But I actually agree with chat again. I'm not ashamed to do it, but I agree. I think Renegades are going to be 13. But this might be my most controversial one, or one of my more controversial picks, because Renegades did finish in, I think, 10th place, or was it 11th? It was 10th or 11th in the Fall Major, and they did beat Furia. They did beat Furia. So that is probably the one that you guys are not going to like. Maybe we should look at the Renegades Furia match after this is done, just to so you guys can, maybe we can all take a look at that and see how it went. And yeah, they also beat Endpoint. They beat Endpoint and Furia, and they're number 13. Like, what's going on with that? But yeah, I think that there's that's an argument. That's a good argument. But I'm just making my prediction here. I think I'm putting them 13th. I think they're gonna be one of the teams struggling. I like Renegades. I love the confidence. I love the aggression. But I do think that they're behind mechanically, and I think that they overperformed at the Fall Major. If I'm being honest. So that's why I have them 13. But it was tough. This was not an easy decision. So anyway, onwards and upwards. Number 12. Like I said, very, very tough decision. Had it not been for an insane run through the final event of Regional number 3 in NA, I probably would have put Renegades in the top 12. But this team, they did well enough in the most recent Regional in NA, and well enough throughout the split, that I think I have to put version 1 ahead of them. I just have to. But it is close. I thought about putting Renegades ahead of version 1, but Renegades, or rather, version 1 did impress me. They did impress me at the Regional number 3. If they didn't win that event, I probably would have put them behind Renegades, I think. Like, if they came second, I would have put them behind Renegades. But they won it. They beat NRG in a final. That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal. So I put that's why I'm putting version 1 ahead of Renegades. If they didn't literally win Regional 3, I would have put them at 13th. I hope you guys understand that. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. So, okay. Number 11. Okay, I agree with you guys in this one. And let's talk about that. So the only difference is that you guys have version 1 ahead of EG, and I have them behind EG. And the reason is that EG were more consistent. That's why I put EG ahead of them. And they're in a tougher region. If they can be that consistent in a harder region, then I think it holds more weight than making one top 4, winning an event, and then like bombing out in another event. Like I'm more impressed with EG making deep runs every time, looking competitive every time they play, compared to V1 having one good event and one really bad event. I rate consistency more than a random, well, not random, but let's say one pop off and one bad event. So that's why I have EG ahead of E1. But I want to reiterate, these were all very close. 16, 15, 14 for me, easy, didn't have to think about that a lot. 13, 12, 11, very close. All of them very, very close. And this is just the order that I would predict if the match is happening on LAN. I would predict like this. I would pick EG over V1 right now. I'd pick V1 over Renegades. Obviously, if they end up matching up at LAN after having LAN matches against other teams, then I might change my prediction. If version 1 on day 1 of the event beat a team who I have top 5 and EG lose to Pioneers, for example, then they play, I will pick V1 over EG. But right now, with the information we have, I would pick EG over V1. But it's close though. It's very close. Okay. Number 10. Number 10. Also, I think very close. I think very close to 13. I think 13 all the way to 9. Very close. Very close. But for number 10, I have Space Station. I have SSG at number 10. And this is not because I don't think his team's good. I do think SSG is good. I think that Daniel's going to have a great LAN. I think he's going to be one of the best players at the event. But I think the 9 teams I have ahead of them are all really insane. And they have like players who are going to have similar events to Daniel. They have teams who are going to have slightly better events than SSG. I have SSG at 10. You guys are all mad about this, even though you put them at 9. It's not that different. Are you guys crazy? It's like almost the same. But yeah, I'll go ahead and reveal my number 9 as well, just so we can have a conversation about this. I have Furia at number 9. And like I said, 9 till 13, these teams are all quite close for me. Renegades, because I think that they're very confident, and I still think they have like kind of an underdog buff. Even though they finished 10th at the last event, they're probably still going to come in feeling like underdogs, which I think is a bonus at these kind of events. No pressure. But I really rate Furia. I think Furia underperformed overall. I think that loss to Renegades was a bit of not a fluke, but I think it was an anomaly. I think if Furia and Renegades play at every LAN event for the next 2 years, I think Furia will have a winning record. Maybe they're not going to beat Renegades every other time, but I rate Furia really highly. I think this team is sick. I think that they've got a brilliant playstyle for LAN, and if they can just calm down the nerves a little bit in matchups that they're supposed to win, then they're going to be great. They beat G2 3-2. They came back from 2-1 down to beat G2, and G2 didn't have a phenomenal LAN, but they were actually getting better towards the end of it, and Furia beat them still. I think Furia are insane. I really, really rate this team. A lot higher than you guys, apparently. But I can't wait to see them play. They're sick. They've just won 2 regionals in SAM again in a row. G2 nearly lost to Birdie. No, they did not. Chat are going to believe that. You can't be spouting nonsense like that, CJ. Yeah, Furia are really, really good. I rate them a lot. I think that they underperformed at the Fall Major, and I still back them. I don't think you can judge a team off one event. Just like if G2 had kept Dries and they came into this event, I wouldn't tell you guys, oh, G2 were bottom 8, therefore they're going to be bottom 8 again. No, I think that they underperformed also. I think G2 Furia underperformed at the Fall Major. I think teams like Complexity might have slightly overperformed based on how well they did in the Winter Major. Winter Split. It's tough to say. We just need to see more. You can't really immediately think a team is bad just because they don't have good results on one day of competition. I mean, remember who Furia lost to at this event? They lost to Semper, right, to start the event. I think they went game 5 with Semper, who finished top 4. They lost to Sandrock Gaming, who a lot of people have. Well, you guys have the number 6 in the world. And then they had one bad, losing to Sandrock Gaming and Semper, nothing wrong with that. those are two insane teams. They lost to Renegades. They had one bad loss, and everybody's like, wow, Furia suck. I don't know. I rate this team a lot. I really rate them. In fact, I nearly put them number 8, but I didn't. I didn't quite put them number 8 because I do think that, you know, Furia are not the only team that underperforms at the Fall Major. I think G2 also underperformed. I think they're going to make top 8 this time. I've got G2 number 8. You guys had them, where was it, number 5? A little bit too high for my liking. I don't back the team that much. Like, G2, if this event was online, I'd have them a lot higher. But, yes, they added Atomic. With Atomic online, they had similar results to what they did with Dries. Similar results. You guys are saying it's a different team. Well, it's a different team that had the exact same results online. Once again, they're the second seed coming out of NA. In fact, I think they had like almost identical results. I'm gonna look at the rankings right now. NA rankings, fall ranking. How many points did G2 get? I think they got like yeah, they won an event and they came second. They came second and then first in the fall regionals. Number 2 and 3 with Dries. What did they get in fall regionals this time? They got a first and a third in the two last fall regionals. So they did marginally worse in one of the last two, but better in the first one. I don't know. I think that online they had extremely similar results both times. They're the second seed from NA in winter. They were third in fall because FaZe did a lot better, but they had pretty similar results. G2 with Dries and Atomic, kind of same. And then you have to look at how these players did at LAN. JNEP Chicago didn't look too good. They looked extremely nervous. I think there's a ton of pressure on G2 in the fall major to perform. They didn't. I think there's even more pressure on G2 to perform at the winter major, and I don't think that they're going to perform as well as 5th. I just don't see it. Everybody was thinking that G2 is going to like win the event coming into the fall major. Well, everybody online, not me, but I saw a lot of people predicting G2 to win, finish second. Pretty much every North American person who made prediction brackets had them top 4, minimum, with Dries. But then just because they had one bad LAN, everybody's like, Dries is the problem. Now they've got Atomic, they're going to finish way better. I don't know. I just feel like with that roster move, they have even more pressure on themselves. And they didn't look too hot in their first event with Atomic. This is their first LAN with Atomic. Do you really back the team that didn't look too great in their first event online with Atomic, in their first LAN with that guy? I don't know if I do. I don't back them any higher than the 8th though. But I could have easily put them 9th. I think 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually quite a small gap in my list. But we'll see. I like G2, I like the way they play. I hope they perform well. But Atomic didn't have a good fall major. JNEP Chicago didn't have a good fall major. Yes, they were on different teams, but they still individually didn't perform when the pressure was on them. And now there's even more pressure on them. So I just can't predict them ahead of the teams I have ahead of them. The teams that I think have performed under pressure. Because, well, okay, my top 6 have all performed under pressure. I think my top 6 was clear. And I don't think you guys are going to like my number 7, actually, either. Let me... Oh, no, you might, actually, because you guys had them lower than I expected. But I've got Endpoint at number 7. Same team exactly. They were first seed from EU coming into the fall major. Didn't perform up to that level. Now they're the 4th seed coming from EU. They did look best in the Regional 3 when they were boot camping, which, kind of shows that when this team boot camps, when they get together, they do actually perform a lot better. But it's the same team on LAN, and overall as a team, they did struggle on LAN compared to the teams I put above them in this list. Oh, well, and some that I'm completely guessing because it's their debut. But yeah, I don't think I can put Endpoint higher than this. Just because they didn't look anywhere near the Endpoint online when they played on LAN. But yeah, I think that's a fair ranking for that. I really do. I think it's fair. Want to also make it clear though, I think every team in my top 8 has a very real chance of winning the event as well. I think it's not just like a short list of teams that have a shot to win this. I think there's a decent percentage for G2 to win it. All they need is a good start. Same thing for Endpoint. All they need is like to get on some good momentum. If Metza has a good day 1, that team's going to be terrifying. If Atomic is a good day 1 for G2, that team's going to be terrifying as well. But we got to see it first. I've got to see it before I'm going to predict them any higher, because it's reliant. It's reliant. Okay, Now, before I do my number 6, I want to say thank you to Richie Dagger for the brand new Prime. Welcome to the channel. Also, Blueprints Bad for the 2-month Prime. Welcome back to you. And Landmark RL, thanks to the 31-month Prime. And Plumtree for 64-month Tier 1. That's absurd. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, top 6. Bear in mind, like I said earlier, top 6 at this major is a big deal. It's a jump. At the fall major, 5, 6, 7, 8 was the exact same points. At this one, 7, 8 is less than 5, 6. Like it's a big jump to go up to 5, 6. So this was an important decision who to put top 6. But I knew what my top 6 was going to be before today started. I just wasn't entirely sure the order. I had to look at the order to see, okay, do I like that? Would I change anything? But the team that I'm putting at number 6, and this is a close one, is FaZe Clan, who you guys had number 7. So yeah, you guys had G2 ahead of FaZe, which is interesting. And this is something I wanted to talk about, because I think most of the takes and most of the predictions I've seen so far have had G2 ahead of FaZe. I think on first touch, when everybody picked their 2 best teams from NA, most of them said NRG and G2, I think. But yeah, type 2 in chat if you think G2 are going to finish ahead of FaZe at this LAN. Bear in mind G2 are a higher seed going in, because they finished with more points. And I'm sure that a lot of you do think this. I also want to reiterate, it's not a big gap. I don't have FaZe miles ahead of G2, I just think that they're marginally ahead. But yeah, why do I have FaZe ahead of G2? Well, quite simply because First Killer and AJ both looked really good at the fall major. That's it. I think the team's got the potential to be one of the absolute best in the world. I think we'd all agree on that. First Killer, AJ both had very good lands. I think they both looked very good. They looked a whole lot closer to their online performance level than JNAP, Chicago, and Atomic did. Illusion carried. He didn't carry. He was he was an equal part in all their victories. He didn't carry. Nobody carried. I don't think First Killer carried. I don't think AJ carried. I don't think Illusion carried. I think they all played very well. The only reason I can't put them higher is because Typical has been very nervous in big moments throughout this season. So he's the question mark. But yeah, Typical's insane. He's still a really good player. Some comments here are quite interesting from chat. Typical is doing great. It's a bad fit. I couldn't disagree more. I think Typical's a great fit. I think that the problem for this team is nothing to do with player or play style. I think it's just that there's no one on this team who wants to be carried. A good analogy for this would be, if any of you have ever played MOBAs, like League of Legends. League of Legends is a perfect example, actually. Type 1 in chat if you played League of Legends, or if you have watched League of Legends. When you're having a bad game in League of Legends, one of the most important things in order to have a high winning percentage is to be good at getting carried. Don't feed. You got first blood at you got killed at level 1. Don't feed. Just play safe. Your bot lane double killed at level 1. Alright, they're probably going to need to carry you this game because you died at level 1. It happens. Just drop the ego. Don't feed. Let your teammates pop off. Now, I think that that's kind of what I think of when I see FaZe. I see a team that are, I think, very, very good offensively. This is a triple threat team. They're all insanely mechanical, very, very efficient. They put a ton of pressure on their opponents, and they're versatile. They have passing plays, solo plays, demo plays. They have everything in offense. The only problem for me is that when it comes to defense, FaZe don't really play for each other. Nobody's willing to, put themselves in low boost or in an awkward position to make their teammates' lives easier behind them. Okay, you've got Typical and Net will either First Killer or AJ 0 boost ball chase to make his save easier. I don't see it as much as I see it from other teams. Compared to, say, NRG, where Will Garrett 0 boost ball chase to make Squishy or Justin's life in net easier. Yeah, he's like, I don't really care if I get carried. I don't really care if I look stupid in this play because somebody outplays me. As long as my teammate can make a good challenge or a good save, sure, I'll let the other team outplay me. But yeah, I don't really see that with FaZe. I see 3 players who are playing for themselves defensively. And that's what worries me about them, of why I can't put them higher. But I really rate this team. I think that they're fine. I think that the problems they have are all self-inflicted, mostly self-inflicted, I should say. And I think that they can easily solve them if they just look at a couple of replays. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard to see where they're going wrong. They're like the Carmine Corp of NA. Like Carmine Corp and FaZe, it's really easy to see where these teams go wrong. And a lot of people say things like Sypical's a bad fit for the team. Azrael's got a bad attitude. They need a roster move. I'm just looking at these takes and looking at these teams and thinking, are people crazy? Have people lost their minds? FaZe are insane. They just have to actually learn how to play for each other in defense. Carmine Corp's insane as well. They just need to learn how to stop overextending and stop like making like dumb commitments for no reason. Do they need a roster change? No, they need to like fix their mistakes. Now, teams that need a roster change are teams that are just straight up getting outplayed and are not good enough. But these teams are good enough. FaZe are good enough to be the best in the world. They just got to sort themselves out. Anyway, don't want to make this entirely about FaZe, but I did want to explain, why I don't have them higher, but why I do have them here. They performed on LAN last time, at least 2/3 of them. Let's see if Sypical can do the same. But because Sypical has been, not... I would have put FaZe 5th had it not been for Sypical's inconsistencies and FaZe's inconsistencies recently. Instead, I'm putting Sandrock Gaming 5th because although this is Khaled's LAN debut, well, RLCS LAN debut, it's not his LAN debut. He's gonna, supposed to be going to this one. I don't think they made an official announcement, but TRK was in my chat the other week, just last week, and he said that Khaled's going. So I take that as a good enough reason to believe that Khaled is going to be there. Now, if Khaled is there, that's obviously a new Sandrock Gaming compared to last time. They're going to have a lot of pressure on them for sure. But this is a team that have played a ton of LANs in Saudi Arabia over the past couple of years. During COVID, these guys, there's been a lot of like LANs in Saudi Arabia with crowds. So if any team is going to be ready for this LAN with a crowd, it will be them. And yeah, Khaled's been very consistent online. Definitely more consistent than FaZe's Sypical, and yeah, Sandrock a bit more consistent than FaZe. But I definitely would have power ranked FaZe ahead of Sandrock from the fall major. I want to make that abundantly clear. I think the FaZe were more impressive at the fall major than Sandrock. However, there's just a few more question marks around FaZe now than there are around Sandrock. I think Sandrock are very consistent. They're super confident. So yeah, I definitely have to put them number 5, one ahead of you guys. So the main difference is that you guys put G2 so you guys have G2 a lot higher than me, but the other teams we actually have in the exact same order in the top 8 so far. Sandrock, FaZe, Endpoint, same order. It's just you guys rank G2 a lot higher because I think there's a lot of I think it's just hopium from G2 fans and from NA fans thinking that this new roster is going to perform well on LAN, and it's pure hopium. There really is not a lot of thought going into it. They have similar online results to when they had Drees, and they have 3 players who did not perform well at the fall major, so I don't see it. But like I said, they have the potential. All teams in the top 8 I think have LAN winning potential. Outside the top 8, a bit harder to see. I have a harder time seeing any of the teams outside the top 8 that I have here winning. But they're all still very good teams. I think all the way down to like Renegades. I think these teams are all like proven. Secret, question mark. Pioneers, definitely a question mark. But I'm excited to see them. Detonator as well, massive question mark. I'm super excited for all the teams for sure. So, okay, top 4. This was actually the hard part, or one of the hard parts. I knew that my top 4 would be the top 4 that you guys have gone for as well. But the order is definitely tricky for reasons such as, well, BDS won the fall major, but now they're the 3rd seed from EU Online, and they just had a really bad regional number 3. Dignitas looked like the best team in the world in fall major Swiss. Then they had one bad series and they're out in the quarterfinals. They've their 2nd seed coming in. Queso, grand finals 3 times in a row in regionals. NRG, grand finals 3 times in a row in regionals, albeit in a weaker region. And I'm not saying that to meme on NA, it's just true. It's harder to get grand finals consistently in EU. That's just a fact. There's more teams that can beat you. I'm not trash talking, I'm fact talking right now. So yeah, a lot of things to consider, and really you can make an argument for any of these 4 teams being the best, the top team, any of them. But you have to start somewhere. So I think for me, It's really, really tough. It is really tough. Just if BDS had just been consistent or like had a better regional 3, this would be so easy, but they didn't. They had a terrible regional 3. And I guess they didn't look too good going into regional or coming into the last LAN either, and they just went and won it. So who knows, man? Who knows? This is tricky. I do rate consistency though. I have to back consistent teams, and therefore I am gonna do something that I think will surprise a lot of people, and that is I'm gonna put at number 4 Team BDS. How many of you saw that coming? And I'm not joking. That's my real number 4. But the reason is, I think Dignitas will beat them if they play on LAN. And yeah, NRG was definitely BDS favored the last time around. But I think NRG will probably have a better shot at beating teams like Dig than BDS will. BDS got farmed by Dig when they played them. I think Dig are really good against BDS actually. I think Dig look really good against BDS. I think they've kind of figured out a way to beat BDS. In fact, it looked so bad for BDS in Regional 1. Dig perfect swept them, which isn't like irrelevant. I think it's relevant here. I think it's relevant. And yeah, number 3 is going to be Dignitas. I'm putting Dignitas number 3. Again, probably this will surprise a lot of you. Everybody thought, oh, Johnny's going to put NRG number 4 and then EU top 3. But no, I'm trying to be serious here. I'm trying to be as... trying to make this as accurate as I think it will be. As accurate as possible. Buck Nasty, thanks for the 20-month tier 1, by the way. Welcome back to the channel. Also, St. Matthew, thanks for 2-month prime. Says what happened to Vitality and Envy. Well, Envy made a roster change, it didn't work out. And Vitality didn't make a roster change, it didn't work out. So, yeah, neither of them were even close to qualifying. But okay. The reason I think BDS are my number 4 is because, well, 1, I think Dignitas, if they play online, I think Dignitas will beat them. I think Dig will beat them. So that's one of the reasons. Number 2, they have been inconsistent. And I don't think it's a good argument to say, hey, look, BDS were inconsistent in the fall regionals. And then they, then they did well at LAN. I think that's a terrible argument. I think, inconsistency should never... Just because a team did well after inconsistency doesn't mean they're going to do it again. Inconsistency is called inconsistency for a reason. You can't consistently back it. So I think BDS had just been too inconsistent for me. They got swept by Queso, perfect swept by Dignitas in Regional 1. Lost to Luminosity twice in Regional 3, and then lost to Carmine Corp to be eliminated. Yes, they looked like the best team in the event in Regional 2. And, they're probably still the best in the world. The best team in the world based on accolades. Well, they are the best team in the world based on accolades. Yeah, the reverse swept by KC, right? Or no, it was swept by KC. Sorry, I'm getting my series confused. But yeah, just too much inconsistency from this team. And I don't know. They weren't even consistent all the way through the Fall Major. They didn't have a good series against FaZe. They looked terrible against FaZe, actually, at the Fall Major. And they also, didn't look too good against Complexity in the opening series. BDS were great against NRG every time they played them. And yeah, that's all people remember. But I think BDS inconsistency, I have to back consistency, so I'm putting the number 4. But they are still the best team in the world based on accolades. And I also want to say that if every team peaks, I think BDS win. I know that might sound really weird, but if every team peaks, I think BDS win. I think a lot of people are thinking, no, if every team peaks, FaZe win, G2 win, NRG win. No, if every team peaks, BDS win the event. But BDS peak less often than they used to. Extra says, you're right, we're not good enough right now. Extra, I believe in you, man. I believe in you. This is just like stupid caster predictions. Don't ignore it. Ignore it. You do your thing. You guys know how to win events. You've won 4 majors in a row. You won all the EU majors in RLCS Season X, and then you won the first international major. You guys are insane. But you already knew that. But yeah. Okay. Number 2. I'm going for NRG. The reason I'm putting NRG number 2 is because they've placed top 2 for the last... How many events is it now? 4 events in a row. They were second place in the Fall Major. They were first place in the Winter Regional 1. Second place in Winter Regional 2. Second place in Winter Regional 3. They were also top 2 in the first 2 Fall Regional. They've only not placed top 2 in one event this year. One event this year. They are so consistent. Ridiculously consistent. That's why I have to back them ahead of Dignitas, who have a better peak than NRG, but a lower floor. I think Dignitas, if NRG and Dig both play their best, Dig win. If BDS and NRG both play their best, BDS win. But NRG are just probably the most, well, over the season, they're the most consistent team in the world. They're just ridiculously consistent. But the most consistent team right now, well, the team that is equally consistent right now, if not more so, and also in a tougher region, is Team Queso, and that's why I have to power rank them number 1 going into this event. They've made 2 regional wins in EU and a second place as well. And that was against the only time they didn't win a regionals when BDS decided that they were the best team in the world again. Now, I want to keep saying that. If BDS decide at the Winter Major that they're the best team in the world, they win. It's as simple as that. Every event that BDS decide they're the best team in the world, they win it. They've never lost when they're the best. When BDS play their game, they're unplayable. Nobody can beat them. But recently, they haven't done that except in one event. No, except in 2 events. They've done it 2 out of the last 5, I think. 2 out of the last 5. Well, 2 out of the last 7 if you consider all the regionals from the fall split. But BDS, I think in the first regional, it's actually pretty good. But yeah, that's why I put. I rate consistency a lot when I'm making these rankings. That's why I have Queso Energy at the top ahead of Dig, BDS, who are less consistent. That's the clear top 4 for me. I have Sandrock ahead of FaZe. That's the obvious 5-6 in my opinion, because Sandrock are more consistent. And then Endpoint G2, pretty close again. But I think Endpoint, yeah, just more consistent. G2 just didn't have a good LAN last time. Endpoint were decent. And yeah, Furia had a bad LAN, but I don't even know if they had a bad LAN. If Furia just beat Renegades, people would be like, what a great LAN. They had one bad series. I really back Furia. They're kind of like my one that I've cheat picked. I'm like, no, I put Furia here. Everything else is very like organized into the book. But yeah, Furia, I think they just underfinished with a bad loss to Renegades. And if they play again, they'll get their revenge. But OCE, man. 2-0 against Sam. I really hope we see another OCE versus Sam matchup in the group stage at LAN. No Semper. Wave. And Archie initiating this one. But yeah, what was the biggest differences here? I had Queso and NRG 1 away from you guys. BDS I had 3 away from you guys. G2 I had 3 away. Version 1 only 2 away. EG bang on. Bottom 4 bang on. So Furia, G2 and BDS were the 3 teams that we disagreed on the most with Twitch chat and myself. Everything else was either within 1 or 2. And yeah, man, I predicted BDS, I think, to finish 4th at the last line, and they won it. So really, this might be a good thing. It might be a good thing. You're welcome, Extra. You're welcome. I think I had you losing to Endpoint at the last LAN, I think. Or was it NRG? No, I think I had BDS losing to NRG. That turned out to be a bad prediction. They lost 3 times. Extra managed to prove that one wrong. Semper got top 4 in fall, so they should be here. It's not how the format works, man.